If you are a modern day man, I'm confident that you've experienced feeling stuck in life. Maybe you take one step forward, but it feels like you're always going two steps back. You could have a crisis of faith. Maybe you're going through a bad breakup, a health scare, or a dark financial situation. It can feel like you're not hearing from God. You don't know what to do, and the walls are closing in around you. If you can relate to that, this video is for you. I have 3 simple steps that are not only going to fix your situation, help you thrive like you never have before. Now, I'm going to do my best to be brief and to the point, but there's a lot of information that we're going to cover here. And like I said, it's very simple, straightforward, no confusion, no crazy esoteric meanings, very actionable steps. So I'll actually have some homework for you at the end to bring all of this home, make it very simple. And a lot of this is going to be unconventional, not the typical approach that you've seen from most of the stuff that's online. Now, you probably have a very valid question. You're like, cool, that's a bold claim, black man. Who the fluff are you? And what qualifies you to talk about this experience? Now, I don't know about all that, if you should listen to me or maybe you shouldn't. I just want to point out, I've been having these kind of conversations online for over a decade. Okay, I've been in the trenches coaching men. I mean, even just online as a weirdo that likes to obsess over personal development. Now, most people are going to know me from my gaming career. And as you see, this is 12 years now, man. Over a decade, though. I was posting gaming videos, but I was also a nerd, and I like to make videos on, like, overcoming fear, purpose, all these things. And I'm in, like, this is a channel called Madden Mastermind. So this was about video games. That's all I should have been talking about. But I just enjoyed having conversations like this. And then it kind of spiraled into my family doing vlog series. Before that, I was just talking to a camera, all right, over 10 years ago, gay marriages and dealing with that as a Christian man, dealing with haters, anger issues, emotions, suicidal thoughts, so many things. And again, so I have been in the trenches for years, having these tough conversations with men, and even for my own self, all right? All of this, the root of all this is me making a lot of mistakes and being humble enough to try to fix those. I do my best to try to make new mistakes. So you can't see here. Maybe I can actually show it here. Like, it led to, and then a new series, not Daily Dose, but Epic Rants here. I don't have the full playlist, but I should have that pulled up. I'm trying to be brief here, though, okay? But you can, I think in this, I was trying to flex my little tiny library back then. That's a fraction of what I have now. But my point here, none of this is to brag. It's just to say, I'm not making any of this up, all right? I've been having these conversations online for over a decade. This has led to a coaching program, okay, for the better half of that decade. I'm going to have a link in the description, creatorgame.com. I want you to check out to see a little bit more about what we're doing there. I have a podcast you'll also see at the bottom that you guys should check out. I forget how many episodes we're in over there, probably around 100. And this has been listened to in over 55 countries. I have international followers. I've had conversations with men of so many different ages, backgrounds, nationalities. And so none of what I'm saying is theory or making it up. This has been proven over and over and over again. And so I want you to approach this with confidence because it really has the power to change your life. Okay, I'm going to shut up. Enough about me. Let's get into it. Like I said, it's 3 simple steps. Your boy's going to be whiteboarding. That's my thing. Some people like the little easels with the paper. Some people do the PowerPoint presentations. This is where I'm at. Okay, you're going to see me do a lot of this. A little bit of a disclaimer. My handwriting is hit or miss. All right. Sometimes I'm feeling it and it's going to be real accessible. Other days it might look like Hebrew. Do your best to keep up. Okay. You'll usually always have a gist of what I'm saying and what I'm writing. If you ever, have issues, leave a comment. Okay, feel free to leave a comment. Now, again, we're talking about getting unstuck. And we're going to be a little bit deeper than you thought, but it's very digestible and just, I need you to stick with me. All right. Now, step number 1 is all about remembering who you are. Now, let me get to drawing here. Let me use this whiteboard. Now, this is what I'm going to call you. Now, when I say you, immediately you go and think of your name, right? So for me, that would be Dion. And you start to think of all the labels that come with that. All right. So this year I'm going to be 35. People call me Unc on the internet now. Okay. And, I have a wife. My wife's pregnant with our 5th child. You can see some of this stuff behind me. That's my wife. That's my son. This ninja's 5 now. He's about to be 6. I got to move it up a little bit. You can see my daughters up there. They're 13, 12, and 10 right now. Dang. I'm just realizing how old I am. But I could start thinking and doing some of that to these different labels we have on Dion. I actually believe, now I'm not saying that doesn't make sense. I just think that's not the biggest and largest way to look at yourself. I think that's actually can get kind of tiny and puny because we start to limit ourselves and only look at ourselves as being as big as our labels. Now, I truly believe you're actually bigger than that. So like you are this consciousness, this awareness that is made in the image of God. And that doesn't have a name. You know what I mean? Like my mom and dad, they were just like, yeah, let's call the Ninja Dion. And now that's my name, but that's not how God sees me. God knew me before that, knows me after that. And if I were to die and we were to, put my body in a casket, you wouldn't say that is Dion. You'd be like, well, that was Dion's body, but that's not really Dion. Okay. So when I say you, that's who I'm talking about. If you were to close your eyes, you could still imagine and see things and almost like talk, right? I can have you count to 10 without really opening your mouth. That soul, that is you, all right? Truly you at the highest level. Now that you, right? Of course, he has a body or she has a body and he has a heart, all right? There's a heart. I don't even know how to draw a mind, but that's what you have, but those aren't you, right? And this is so nuanced, but it's important to realize the step number one because it repackages, repositions the whole situation because you realize that who you truly are cannot be stuck. He cannot be trapped. He cannot be any of these things that you're experiencing on this level. And so you have thoughts, but what the fancy scientific term for it is called meta-awareness, where you can be aware that you're aware. So you can see your thoughts, not necessarily physically, but you can watch that process as you're thinking, and you can notice when you get caught off and you're distracted, right, and bring your attention back to something. That's called meta-awareness. And so you can escape your thoughts a bit and not be consumed by them. So if you can see them and realize that you have them, you aren't those. In the same way that you can see your body, you are not your body. You have a body, but you aren't a body. And same with your heart, right? We have these feelings, we have these emotions, and they can be so powerful, sometimes debilitating if we get caught up in them, but you really aren't those emotions. Now, the perfect analogy I like to walk through clients with is imagine you're playing a game, and I actually don't imagine. I believe life is a game, and I treat it like a game. That doesn't mean you can't take it serious, right? Some of us take our games very serious, but I believe life is a game. And actually, for example, I'm about to start after this. I'll probably stream some Call of Duty, and how silly would it be for me to be running around in Call of Duty, and when my character gets shot, I start limping like I'm really hit, That would be foolish. That would be silly. But some of the tricks our mind can play on us, sometimes we get so involved in the game. Maybe you're playing a racing game. You're turning as you're playing the game. Someone shoots at you in Call of Duty. You actually start ducking in real life because our soul almost likes to, on an identity level, almost likes to possess things, like jump into them and identify with them fully. And that doesn't mean it doesn't serve its purpose. I'm not telling you to be so transcendent that you don't identify as a father, as, you definitely got to clock in on Monday and identify with your job, right? If you want to get that paycheck. And just like I have to identify with my character in the video game when I want to win on that level, but I can never get caught up in thinking that video game is the end all be all. The game bigger than your body and your heart, and who you truly are can't get stuck. And now this reframes how you approach the situation as a whole, because you're like, okay, now you're almost at the control center, and you realize that there are times where I just watch my heart and I watch the emotions come and they go, and I don't have to give in to those feelings. And sometimes I'm making permanent decisions off of some temporary emotions, and I can watch the different sensations of that. The mind chatter can go crazy, and I don't have to fall victim to my mind making me go left when I've set goals to go to the right. And now that you remember who you are, okay, and we're loosening the grip, the power that our mind has over us, that our heart and our body has in these tough situations, now we need to remember the game that we're playing. And this is all, and I'm going to break this down on two levels. The first level is a little bit surface level, easier to digest. I might lose some of y'all on the second one, but I want you to try and stick with me here, okay? Now, a lot of us do start off in purpose, trying to do the right things. I'm trying to draw like a target here, okay? Think of like a bullseye, like I was shooting an arrow or shooting at a gun range, something like that. You have the bullseye, and that represents what you initially started off, like pure purpose. And that's typically good. You usually start off for the right reasons, but over time things can happen. Like I said, there can be financial crises, bad breakups, you get sick, some mental health, whatever goes on, the situation shifts, and sometimes the pain can get so high what you aim at, you kind of lose focus of the initial aim. And now you're over here trying to get revenge, and you're trying to prove people wrong, and you're taking quick fixes and shortcuts. And sometimes we get so off target that we're not even on the board anymore. We're just trying to impress people that don't even matter. And as we're missing these, we're shooting off target, all this is energy, and it's causing us pain. And we start to really care about these things. But if we were to sit back and first remember who we are, and remember and when I say remember the game, remember what you're actually even playing for, where your true purpose is. And there's a good chance, as you're relating to this feeling of being stuck, being in a pit, things not going your way, your goalpost is probably shifted. And it would behoove you to kind of sit back and realign your perspective from a overarching level, like what we would call a North Star level. Like, what are you after ultimately? This is when we're getting into, now let's get into the deeper level. Because this, when I say purpose, a lot of you guys are going to think, yeah, I need to get back to purpose. And when you say purpose, you're talking about, this really big goal that you have. And it's almost always, especially as we're talking with men, around some sort of career. And I want to invite you to look at purpose on a much deeper level. Now, they do not like it when I come for, some of the things that mean the most to them. But hey, you do not have to take this. Again, I'm just sharing what has worked for me and the thousands of men I've worked with over the years. Now, imagine this is a mountain. Okay, a little mountaintop. And we typically think of purpose as like, all right, I got to find the reason I was created to live, and I have to achieve my purpose. And this is almost always like a career thing, where it's like, I'm a singer, I'm an actor, I'm a businessman, this entrepreneur. I was meant to lead people. But it's always not even that. It's always at a certain famous level, okay? Someone would be like, yes, I meant to be a musician. And it's like, great. But if they were to just, be a local musician, even if they were full-time and successful, no, that's not enough. Their purpose needs to be famous, touring, traveling the world. Never for them, though. Never selfishly. Of course, it's to help people and to help God, because God needs the help. The almighty creator of the universe, he needs backup. He needs you, right, to finish his plan. And so we have this weird view on purpose where it's like, there's this one thing I'm created to do. And for some reason, this almighty creator who built, we have the dimensions of faith and spirituality in our life that's undeniable. We have the relationships. We have the energy, which is our mental and physical health. And then, of course, there is the economics. That's the career stuff. But it's as if all this other stuff doesn't matter. So the time you spend spiritually, that's not purpose. The stewarding of your body mentally, physically, that means nothing. But when we're talking about that career, right, when you're grinding to be the best Twitch streamer forever, that's purpose. Or only when you're at the church building, like that's purposeful. And even when you say it like that, you realize that don't even make sense. It really doesn't. And what I believe, as we look at more of an infinite game and more of the message of Jesus, as he's talking about an eternal life, talking about giving us life and life more abundantly, not just when you die, now as you are living. And we like to call this the infinite game. There is a broader perspective. And I promise you, every moment is jam-packed with purpose. And God is trying to talk to you. God is trying to bring you in union with him. But it's not only when you're at church. And this new perspective, I kind of want to illustrate like this. So this is you, and you go out and you do all these things on the outside. You get a wife, you get a kid, you're trying to get to the money, you're trying to get a better car, a better gaming setup, all these things. You do it on the outside in the three-dimensional world. That's what I'm talking about. But you do it to feel a certain way on the inside, all of it, right? The reason you're going to your job, and you're like, Dion, fluffy you, I hate my job, okay? But you still go to it to get that paycheck, and how that paycheck makes you feel, and that security and the saving up for your down payment on your house or the new car and all this stuff. You're getting the new iPhone, the video games. You do these things to feel a certain way on the inside. Sometimes that's to feel significant, to feel secure, to feel a certain peace. Everything is for a reason, right? Now, the scary part about that is none of these things on the outside have those feelings intrinsically. Those are always an inside job. And some of you guys are struggling when you hear that. You're like, hold up, you mean to tell me when I had my brand new baby boy? Or maybe let's bring it back on me, right? So when I had my son, this moment right here was actually, if I can get my big head out the way, this was one of our first, I believe it was our first, eye contact moments where I was looking at him and he was looking back at me. And this is also my first son after having 3 daughters. And we were trying for a son the whole time. We wanted to have boys first and then the girls. And so first boy, I'm looking at him, magical moment on camera. Of course, my heart was open. It was full, right? Just like anytime I've, had the new kids, and it's tempting to think like, yes, this child is what's making me happy. But I would have you consider, man of God, especially if you have children, there were moments where you were holding that child where they did not make you feel happy. Usually it's around 3 a.m. when you didn't fed them, you didn't make sure their diapers changed, there's no rash, they're clean, they're comfy, they're swaddled, and they're still crying. What? You haven't slept in hours. It's the wee of the morning, right? Why are you still crying? That same fullness and loving heart capacity isn't there because it was never in the baby. It's you controlling that. And I'd have you consider that it's just these circumstances where we stop, we what I call hopping out of our ego for a little bit. Like we stop clinging to preferences, how we need things to be, how we don't want things to be. And we just allow these moments to happen. And our heart is caught open. And what I'm arguing is that by default, without you doing anything, the basic position of your heart is love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, the fruit of the Spirit. I don't think you have to work for that. That's from God, as you made in the image of him. But it's when we start to cling to this life, we start to have preferences. We want to start manipulating people so that they don't do this and that they do that. And things got to go our certain way. As we start clinging, we lose that. Jesus talks about when you cling to this life, you're going to lose it. And talks about picking up our cross daily, being crucified, not in the flesh, not really dying, but that ego, okay? Making it all about you, loosening up that selfish grip that you have, all right? Now, that doesn't mean you can't prefer Sprite over Coke. It just means when you go when the Sprite machine's down, you don't have a hissy fit, okay? And it's being in this world, but not of it, not clinging. And there's a freedom to that. And when you do that, everything has purpose. The simple conversations have purpose. You're waking up with your kids and them being alive is full of purpose. And when we get distracted and we get into that one-dimensional living and we're trying to climb to this top, and it's like I have to think of this one thing I was created for, which, again, I do believe there are certain gifts and talents that are jam-packed into us. And we have unique expressions of that. But that is not the only reason you exist. And that's not the biggest reason you exist. And I think we play a much smaller game that only hurts us and the people around us when we do that. So I'm not saying you won't do amazing, great things, man of God. I'm saying you're going to do them a lot better, a lot faster, and for all the right reasons when you aren't clinging to them on your timing, in your way. And it's not this single dimensional one thing in life. And I've seen a lot of men, and I've coached a lot of mighty men that have done a lot of impressive things that have been about achievement. And they get to these dark places where the kids that they loved at one point and were striving for now seem to be in the way. The family's in the way. The God can be in the way of what they want. And they get so tunnel vision that even the success isn't worth it. And now I can't relate. Now I'm grateful for that. I never completely sacrificed my family, threw them under the bus, or abandoned God. But my first experience with suicidal thoughts was on my mountaintop. At that point, I was making the most money in my life. I felt extremely rich. My family was amazing. Most of these kids, I don't think my son was alive. My son was not alive, but all those girls were there. As y'all can see, some of y'all know my wife. My wife's sexy. She looked good. She loves God, and she's freaky. All right, that's what do we want growing up, right? So I had the wife, the relationship with God. I was making money. People knew me online. Like I would go out and it was like the perfect amount of clout. I wasn't like Usher or Justin Bieber. I go out, people are falling out, tripping over. But I was going out, I'd be recognized. People were like, hey, and some people would be shaking, meeting me. And so like every little selfish ego thing that you could want as a man was fulfilled. And I still found a way. I was like, yo, but this is it, right? I was playing such a finite achievement-based game. And I was realizing that works in football, which is a finite game. That works in these sports, these things that we grow up playing in a lot of our video games. But life is an infinite game. You can't win in faith. You can't win in your relationships. You don't win in your health and your mental, physical health. You don't win in your finances. These are infinite games. The point is to keep playing. I didn't get married and then the credits rolled and God gave me a certificate. It was like, fam, you beat it. Congrats. Right? You don't read the end of the Bible and get a certificate in the mail or from heaven. It's an infinite game, and we need to start having infinite strategies to play and thrive in this game. And so I would have you, of course, remember the initial reasons why you set out on some of your missions, why you're doing things, the things that mean the most to you, that are closest to your values. That's you know, when I'm thinking about the bullseye that I drew, that's level 1. Okay, please, that's level 1. And at least as you're working to get unstuck, let's remember some of that. Okay, you've been on social media a lot. You got pulled in a lot of different directions. Let's recenter and figure out what's most important. But even deeper than that, let's tap into that infinite game and realize that whether you want to realize it or not, that is the game. And I would hope that you would realize it's a very tiny and puny game to play to try to get rich, famous, have a house, have this woman. That's very small. And I think there's a much bigger game that you can play that, of course, that stuff can happen. But most of the men that stuff has them. And they don't have those dreams. Those dreams have them, and they're waking up with no shot at peace, no shot at happiness, because they're clinging to that so much. And as a result, you don't really get what spirituality is. You think spirituality is just reading the Bible, going to church. And that's what most men say. They're like, Coach, I got to get better. I got to get back to church. And of course, yes, that's a means of an end. But it's like your spiritual walk is every moment of the day, son. Or sir, right? It's not just what these holy points you're gathering when your Bible is opening. And so I'll leave that there. Okay, but step number 2, let's remember the game and remember the game that we set out to play. Now I'll try to pick up the pace here. All right, we're already a bit long, but number 3 is remembering what's important. And this is a conversation around like energy stewardship. There's so much I want to say here, but that's why I got to make more videos, right? So we'll do follow-ups and we'll break some of this down in detail. And if you guys have questions, please drop them below. But I want you guys to understand this concept that everything is energy. And one of the things we learned in school on energy, if you remember, is that energy is never created or destroyed. It just transfers states. And so this idea that you only have a finite amount of energy at a time. Let's say this is you. It's like a energy bar, all right? And life that is a game, it works just like some of your favorite video games. There's certain levels that you need to achieve certain things in life. And we could say certain levels of energy. It might take a certain amount of energy or experience. You want to be married, right? And have kids and all these things. It takes a certain amount of energy, but we never get there because we're constantly leaking it. We have these little leaks, these distractions. And so we're left with a very small amount of energy because we're spending time scrolling. Our vices are kicking in and sapping us of this valuable energy. And so this is about zooming out, taking an audit and saying, yo, where are, and a better analogy, right? We got our boat. Where are these leaks I need to start patching before I mess around and sink this ship? Check. Now, and there's a quick analogy I want to make here, and I'm going to actually turn over, and I'm going to do this a lot here, y'all. I'm just a gamer by nature. I think through life as a gamer, all right? I can't help it. So we'll be turning to a lot of video games on this channel, not necessarily to play them in detail and go crazy, but I just have visual things I want to show you at times. Now, in Call of Duty, they have a leveling system, okay? You can get to level 55, which is a max, and then you can prestige, which means you'll just start over, okay? But at each level, you have different unlocks. You get different guns or abilities, perks, things of that nature as you move up. And there's things I may want to do at level 44. It's just not possible, though, until I have the experience to do it. And I also want you to think of it as even the energy to do it. Now, let's say going back to the drawing I had, you might be able to lift 100 pounds, let's say in the gym. And let's say that's up here. It takes that much energy, like physical, actual energy. If I starve you, you don't sleep for days, you don't get to eat, you're going to lose energy. So think of those as like leeches or leaks. And you could actually go to lift something that you typically could lift, but now you can't. All right. So we get that. That makes sense because you're so weak. Now let's bring that to some of the things you're trying to achieve in life. Like I said, some of you guys are just jumping way too high overboard and you're trying to do things that are so far ahead. You're trying to do level 55 things. And let's go back to my Call of Duty. You're at level 23, fam. Of course, you're going to make $100 million in your business one day, okay? You'd be just like Alex Hormozy. Let's make the first meal first, though, all right? And let's not try to emulate some of the things we're watching men that have been married for 15 years and have 5 kids that are doing. When you're first getting started, it's okay being at level 1 and level 2. All right. And so I'm kind of having 2 conversations with you at once that I'm jam packing in here. Is one, we want to maximize the energy that we have and to do that. Right. So, OK, actually, what I really want to say, let me get back to my drawing. I did a lot of talking about the intrinsic nature and approach to feeling stuck. And honestly, once you really get a handle of those, you're most likely going to stop feeling stuck. Okay. But that doesn't mean there aren't very real things in your life that you want to improve: your relationship, your bank account, your body, things of that nature. Right. And this is why I'm trying to give you this visual, because some of the steps that we need you to take to get out of this pit, to get unstuck, to turn the finances around, a certain amount of persistence. And I genuinely believe that who you truly are, if I were to go back to my drawing, has all of this in abundance. I need you to get out of your head. Stop listening to all of your thoughts and going along with the feelings of your heart. So I need you to remember how powerful this is. But even beyond that, you could be doing so much more and fighting back so much better in a three-dimensional sense if you stop some of the bad habits and the scrolling and the vices. And every time you give those up, sometimes we think we're just punishing ourselves. It's like, hey, I stopped, looking at pornography, and it's like, this is just painful, and I'm not doing it because they told me it was bad and I wasn't supposed to do it. That's not just that you're not just torturing yourself and that hopefully one day, you just won't feel that way. That is energy that you're getting back. And that can now be used and transmuted into other things and applied other places. And that is the beauty of getting some of that energy back, because now we can apply it to some of the basic things that you need to do to start winning and building momentum and getting consistent. But usually I'll tell a man to do something and they can't even do the basic stuff consistently because they're wasting all of their energy is going to, all these vices and bad habits. And so that's why after we've zoomed out, remember who we are, we remember the game that we're playing, we got to remember, what is important? And let's start patching these leaks that we have. And then from there, man of God, I need you to just play life step by step. Some of you guys have experienced resets in your life, like prestiging in Call of Duty, where, you used to be at like this with God and bad habits kicked in. You got with the wrong people. Sometimes it's a female. You didn't experience that. And now you're at like a level 2. Let's look at this level 1 through 4. You don't even have abilities. You don't have skills. And some of you guys are experiencing that, but you need to play it step by step. All right, I've been ranting enough. Let's get out of here with some action steps, okay? Now, this is about 30 minutes total. You can go a little bit more. Don't go anything less. And you can do this all at once. I'm going to have you do a 10-minute meditation, a 10-minute journal, and a 10-minute walk. These 3 are very big practices too in my coaching programs. It is very effective, okay? These are mindfulness exercises. Think of this allowing you to kind of zoom out, get a better perspective on life. And then you're going to have to follow up, and there's some more actions that'll just come up from you doing this that'll lead to more actions that I need you to do, all right? But step number 1 is going to be a 10-minute meditation. Now, when I say meditation, nothing crazy. You're not holding your hands or arms a certain way. You don't have to cross your legs. You're not aiming at the moon or the stars, suns. I need you to just concentrate on a topic. That's what I mean by meditation. And you will get distracted, most likely. Things will pop up. Your phone will go off. I want you to try to put it away so you're not distracted. But things will happen in your mind that distract you. All you have to do is gently bring it back. You don't have to beat yourself up, badger yourself like, oh, you suck. You're never good at meditation. No, just gently bring it back and keep thinking on it. All right. That's all we're doing. Now, I want you to be thinking of moments of transcendence, times where you've had experiences with the mind, the body, the heart, and they weren't in control. Think of times your mind has told you to do things and you were able to do the opposite. Times your heart felt one way, but you didn't react. You didn't give in, and it turned out that the heart was wrong. Okay. And same with the body, right? Body was maybe screaming that it was hungry. You let it pass. All right, you're good. I want you to think through different moments of that, both on the positive, but even on the negative. Think of times where you've got caught up and actually identified with your thoughts, thinking that you are your thoughts. There's a lot of men that I deal with, and they're like, fam, I never even considered that. I just get carried away with every passing thought and feeling that I experience. And it takes a lot of practice for some guys at first. And some people get it quick, but I want you to spend time thinking through that. Like, wow, I really am this observer, this consciousness that can see and experience thoughts, but I'm not those. Same with the heart and the body. All right. And that's just for 10 minutes sitting down quietly. Do it at the park. Do it in a quiet room, a closet, wherever you have that's distraction free. I will allow you to put some background music on, like ambient music, but nothing with lyrics. All right. I know you want to put on the Mariah Carey, okay, the Slim Thug, the whatever. All right. Nope. Nothing with lyrics. If you have some ambient meditation, nature sounds, that's fine. You could do that. Okay, next you're going to go to a 10-minute journal. Set a timer, all right? You can have a timer like so, or on your phone. That's fine for these 10 minutes so you know how long, so you at least hit that minimum. But you're going to journal on when I say what's the point, remember our point number 2 where we talked about the bullseye? I want you to spend some time writing it out. All right. What is my main priorities right now? And where have I got distracted in this season of pain and me losing focus? And if you want to go a little bit deeper, ask yourself, where have I been clinging, right? Clinging to things on my timing, where have I been trying to manipulate things into going and being my way instead of trusting God and what he has, which is often better. All right. That's step 2. Step 3 is going to be a walk. You're going to say, Dion, as I'm listening to this, it's hot, or it's the winter time, okay, and it's freezing outside. Okay, put a jacket on, sir. Maybe a hoodie underneath it, or a beanie and some gloves, whatever you need, okay? But stop making excuses, right? You guys can have all the excuses you make, and you'll just continue to be in this spot. I'm laying out the simple blueprint. You just got to do it, all right? So go on a walk, and if there's a killer dog at that end of your block, walk that way. Okay, and grab some bear spray. Now, during this walk, I want you to be thinking, where are my leaks? Where am I leaking energy? And these could be people, places, and things. These could be commitments that you've made. Yes, you're an amazing man of God, and you volunteered to lead your nephew's Cub Scout meeting. But Ninja, you weren't even a Cub Scout, a Boy Scout. And what are you doing, right? There's probably someone better that could lead that. Some of you guys are just accepting everything that comes your way. You always say yes. Your boys want to hop on Call of Duty? Yes. Your boys want to go to the club? Yes. All right. Once you got clear on what you're after, now let's start pruning the things that don't align with that and being okay to stand on some of those things. And from that, you'll just notice so many benefits and so much power flooding back as you start cutting some of those off. But I can't tell you exactly what to cut off. You're going to have to that's going to bubble up. And then that's your next action step, to go do some of that and act on all the information that pops up from the meditation, the journal, and the walk that you go on. And I also want you guys to check out creatorgame.com. If you are a man over the age of 18, this is going to be a great starting spot for you. You know, we talked to this Call of Duty here, that's having a starting spot. Man, in this modern day age of manhood, it can be so difficult of knowing where to start. Okay, and at a basic level as men, we want to feel powerful. We want to feel more powerful in our faith, our relationship with God, okay, our actual relationships, our ability to attract the woman that we desire, to the power to have that family and be a leader of that family, to be able to be strong in the body, strong in the mind. We want to be strong in the bank account. But where do we actually start with all of that, right? There's so many different directions, things pulling us in different ways. I wanted to create a free starter spot for a man of God. All right. And so that link will be in the description, creatorgame.com, 100% free. You're going to have access to training materials, so video, PDFs, and a free community with like-minded men on that same journey for you. Our entire coaching program mission is to create a safe space for men to heal and fulfill their purpose. And sometimes that looks like a lot of accomplishment, this, getting that done. And sometimes we need to slow down. We've been through bad breakups, bad businesses, bad hurts, bad faith crises, and we need a place where we can heal, get some stuff off our chest, bounce ideas off people, not be judged by it. We have some of our coaching calls, men are breaking down, crying, sharing stuff that some of their spouse may not even know because they don't have the capacity to handle the weight that they're holding. And sometimes that's what we need as men. We have a free option for you, okay? Please check that out. Link will be down in the description. That's a great starting spot for someone that related to a lot of course, do the homework, but you're like, I fucking need a little bit of more hand-holding, more community. That's your link, okay? Creatorgame.com. Also, check out the podcast. That'll be on that link as well. Then from there, make sure you guys are leaving comments. Please let me know what else you guys want to see. There's a lot of things I wanted to even go deeper on here. You might have questions. If so, bam, leave those below. But I think once you have this, you're unstuck. You should have a good view of where you are, where you want to go. But then an actual system of, all right, here's the goals that I want to hit. What's the systemized approach to making that happen? That'll be my next video, okay? So that'll be somewhere on the video for you to click subscribe if you aren't already, so that you're here when that drops. If it is already dropped, that'll be here somewhere. The exact same system I use to walk my clients through to hit their targets. And we got a lot of men doing in 12 weeks what it takes 12 months for most men to do. Be on the lookout for that. I love you guys, and until next time, God first, God bless.